Welcome to the AFG Pokemon Draft League. This is Season 6 of our league, and I'm going to be doing a little movie recap of the season. I've been away from YouTube for a little while, but I wanted to go back over this season and just, talk about my team, talk about the replays. We'll go over some Pokepastes, and yeah, we'll see what happens. So I'm going to start off by talking about my team. You will see it on screen here. I drafted Terapagos, Iron Treads, Zarude, Gardevoir, Terra Noivern, Terra Bellibolt, Weezing Galar, Ceruledge, Frostlass, and Passimian. Some of these members will not make it all the way to the end of the season, and I'll discuss the team changes when we get to the week where they applied. I'll just kind of go over each Pokemon here. Terapagos, really cool Pokemon. I've never used it before. I'm really excited to get to try it this season. Terra Starstorm is a pretty nasty move. It has a lot of different coverage options as well. Utility sets, it has Rapid Spin, it has Toxic. Really, really cool Pokemon. And yeah, I'm excited to try it. Next up is Iron Treads. I've used Iron Treads before. Great Pokemon. You can use it defensively, offensively, booster energy. Has Rapid Spin, obviously. Has good coverage, Earthquake, Heavy Slam, Knockoff. It even has Volt Switch. Stuff like that. You can have setup options with Iron Defense, Body Press. Just really, really good in general. Great typing. And just a good piece for the team. Next up is Zarude. Zarude is an interesting Pokemon, obviously 4x weak to Bug, but it does have options with setup, a Swords Dance, Trailblaze, Bulk Up, and it has Synthesis, it has Jungle Healing, which heals its status as well. It has some good moves, Knock Off, Power Whip, Ground Coverage, Fighting Coverage, stuff like that. Good U-Turn Mon, good Scarf Mon, Band, Assault Vest, stuff like that. So excited to try him out. Next up is Gardevoir, who I've really wanted to draft for a while. Gardevoir has a ton of coverage options and is actually really specially bulky. So you can run some sets that can take hits as well and not just be, Scarf every week or Specs. Healing Wish support is really nice for Terapagos. That's a main reason why I drafted it. Has Vacuum Wave. Just really good coverage and utility options in general. So really cool Pokemon there. Next up is Noivern. Noivern is our elite speed Pokemon, and decided to make it a Terra Captain here. We got Normal and Fairy for the Terra types. Normal is for those Boom Burst games. Fairy is just the good type in general. We're going to be running that a lot of the time. We needed something fast. Our fastest Pokemon is Iron Treads, besides one of our lower point Mons, which we end up dropping eventually. So our team isn't the fastest, so I do like Noivern here. Next up is Bellibolt. Bellibolt seems really cool. We get to use it with Terra as well, which is Water, Fairy, and Flying. It will not stay flying the whole season. You will see I changed that Terra type out. But Bellibolt's a great Pokemon defensively. Electromorphosis is really threatening as well, which boosts our electric moves. If we get hit, our next electric move does a bunch of damage. Has Static as well. Slack Off, Thunder Wave, Volt Switch, Chilling Water, Discharge. Those are kind of main moves you're going to be running. Terra Blast, of course, too, since we're a Terra Captain. But yeah, really good defensive piece. I like that it can Volt Switch as well. Next up, we have Weezing Galar. Weezing is a great wall, honestly. You could run it offensively as well if you wanted, but in general, it's going to be one of our walls. Great typing. Awesome abilities. Levitate, Neutralizing Gas, and Misty Terrain are all super usable. It's nice that we have a grounded poison, but in some weeks it can be a floating poison if we don't care about the toxic spikes potential too much, and especially with Iron Treads we don't care that much. So yeah, Weezing should be a good defensive piece. Next up is Ceruledge. Never used this Pokemon. Kind of just fit the typing role that I needed. Also has priority, which I do like a lot. And yeah, I mean, it has sweeping shenanigans with weak armor, and then Swords Dance. You can run Endure, you can run Focus Sash, stuff like that. Pretty cool Pokemon. Never used it again, but yeah, should be fun to use. Not going to cover these too much. Frostlass and Passimian, I don't believe either of these saw games. Frostlass is fine, but I kind of found a better use for something on my team. And Passimian is not very good without Terra. It was just kind of speedy with a Scarf on, and not the worst Scarf user. But in general, I'm not going to be wanting to use Passimian too much. So those two do get ditched later on. We will discuss that later. So that's my team. Let's get into the first week of battles. You can see I'm against Q-Spot's people, and he has won our league the last 2 seasons. So definitely a strong opponent for the first week. His team is Gouging Fire, Zapdos, Metagross, Swampert, Mesprit, Okidogi, Delmise, Terra Hariyama, Terra Inteleon, and Mega Audino. Definitely a scary squad. You can see what he brought here on screen, and we are going to go through the replay. We can quickly go over my paste as well for this match. I have an Iron Treads with Citrus Berry. It's just kind of a bulky guy. Takes hits, Knockoff, Stealth Rock, Earthquake, Stone Edge. Stone Edge obviously for Zapdos. Earthquake hits everything pretty well in general. Knockoff to get rid of those items, and Rocks because I do like them as a matchup. He doesn't have good hazard removal. So yeah, that's pretty good. Next is Terapagos. Terapagos is a win condition this week. It has Calm Mind and Rock Polish with Terra Starstorm and Flamethrower. I'm considering that we might be able to go in twice, so you'll see later that I have Healing Wish on Gardevoir to try and heal that up, potentially. We'll talk about Gardevoir now. We have Healing Wish, Shadow Ball, Moonblast, Psyshock, just a Choice Scarf, pretty standard set. Those are the coverage moves we need to hit the team. Healing Wish is for Terapagos typically, but it is also good on Belly Bolt because Belly Bolt is very good into this team as well. Belly Bolt's Chilling Water, Toxic, Slack Off, and Volt Switch. It's kind of our main switch in to Gouging Fire. We are Terra Water, so we won't have any way to hit us super effectively there. And we can tank hits. Chilling Water is attack down, Toxic, and whatnot. So good wall. Then we have Zarude, which is our Inteleon switch in. As long as he doesn't click Ice Beam. I'm basically just... I'm saying that he's not going to click Ice Beam off rip. I can't remember the calc exactly, but I don't actually know if it 2-hit KOs us if he is not Specs, because we have a lot of investment. We're Synthesis to keep ourselves healthy, Knockoff, Petal Blizzard, and Close Combat. Petal Blizzard was good enough this week for grass coverage. You need to run Power Whip and risk the miss. And finally, we have Noivern, which is kind of just our pivot Pokemon. Has Flamethrower, U-Turn, Draco Meter, and Psychic. Psychic to hit the Okidogi super effectively 4 times. And the other moves are all we really need. Draco hits everything hard. And U-Turn for pivoting. So that is the team. And let's get into the game. We can see what he brought. He brought the Zapdos, Inteleon, Okidogi, Swampert, Gouging Fire, and Hariyama. And let's see how this goes. I lead Bellyvolt because I really want to get my Terra off. He is Terra Steel. Knocks off my leftovers, but unfortunate. I'm going to get a Chilling Water off. Bit worried about the Hariyama there. He's going to make the double into Swampert as I go for Chilling Water again. Not wanting to Volt Switch out. Don't really get much chip at all. I didn't get my Terra off immediately just because Zapdos exists and I don't have the best pivots into it. We get the knockoff on the Rocky Helmet here for the Okidogi. Looks like a switch into Zarude in general. We're going to click Psychic here on the Okidogi, but he does manage to switch out and predict that. So we are going to have to U-turn out. I could have Flamethrowered for damage, but it wasn't doing enough here, even with this Spadef drop. So we don't want to take damage on this. We can just go back into Belly Bolt, and we should be okay here. He's going to knock again. This is a free Slack Off, which is nice. Going to go into Swampert. We do opt to Terra Water because I don't want to take an EQ, and getting it up is fine. Zapdos is going to be a bit awkward to pivot into, but we do get the Toxic on the Zapdos, so that's crippled a little bit, which is nice. Iron Treads comes in on the Zapdos Volt Switch. I didn't think he was going to click Heat Wave that turn, and whether he clicked Toxic, Hurricane, Volt Switch, or whatnot, it is fine. We're just going to get a Rocks up as he clicks Heat Wave. We are bulky, so we do kind of eat it with our Citrus Berry, but we did take a lot of damage. Rocks are really good in this game. His only removal is the Zapdos. We're going to pivot out into our Noivern on his Swampert. We both double that turn. You turn back out into Zarude. Zarude eats all of this thing's hits and can Synthesis right back up all the damage. No worries there. I believe that is what we do, yeah. So he does bring in his counter Okidogi. We're going to go back into Noivern. He's going to miss his Gunk Shot, unfortunate. I was hoping like a Drain Punch or something would come out and I could try and eat it with the Noivern, but we didn't really have great pivots into the Okidogi in general, so kind of just have to make a read. But he misses the Gunk Shot, so we get bailed a little bit. U-turn out in the Hariyama into the Treads. We get a free EQ here. It's going to go into Swampert. This thing is going to take 33, and it is Citrus Berry, so I'm going to have to get on out of there. Back into Zarude. He's going to flip turn out, yeah. So he's getting good momentum. And here we see the Inteleon, which is what I meant to counter, so I'm going to stay in. He is smart as running U-turn, which is unfortunate. Yeah, just unfortunate there. Knockoff again. I expected him to stay in because I didn't think he was going to switch out, bring the Inteleon in, knowing I had Zarude on the field, but U-turn was a good bring. And yeah, we lost a lot of health and momentum that turn. He's going to knock off our boots on Noivern. This is where the game might take a little bit of a turn. Click Psychic here, and it would have killed the Okidogi. But last time he went to Hariyama, and it puts me in such a bad spot that it's kind of just a 50-50, whether he's going to switch or not. I made the call that he was going to go into Hariyama and not sack the Okidogi because it was so good into me. But he made a good read, expecting me to over-predict, which I did. So we end up going to Treads on the Drain Punch. Unfortunate. Kind of just hoping he clicks Gunk at that point because we don't have a switch in. So it's really not looking too hot right now. Gardevoir can come in, get some big damage off. He's going to go to Hariyama. This thing is a big problem. It's pivoting in super well. Our only thing we can go into is Belly Bolt. Heavy Slam not doing anything. Getting the Para is actually bad because it gives him Guts Boost, which makes this thing even scarier. We do know he's just going to attack here, so go into Zarude. And at this point, we actually cannot revenge this. Crazy enough. Nothing revenges this except for the Terapagos, which I didn't want to send out right now. So we do go into Belly Bolt, get the slack off. He's going to start Drain Punching with that Guts Boost, which is not good. We can Chilling Water, try to deal with some of that. But at this point, we're not in a great spot. Yeah, he can just go into Zapdos whenever he wants. Yeah, I mean, free Volt Switch for him here, right? No reason not to go for Volt Switch. Yep, goes for Volt Switch. Gardevoir's in, we are Scarf. And again, we cannot kill a Terra Steel Hariyama with anything. And we know he could be Bullet Punch as well, so don't want to risk that. We do just go back into Chilling Water spam on the Hariyama. It's healing itself back up, which is really bad. I can't remember if this was AV. It might have been AV, and that's why we couldn't even kill it with Terapagos. Volt Switch is out on my Belly Bolt here. I stayed in because I really needed to at this point. I need to sacrifice the HP and try and get into my Noivern. He goes into Gouging, so yeah, we go into Noivern. We can just Draco on this thing. He's going to be Swampert. We actually just U-turn out. Good momentum into the Terapagos. And this is the moment we've been waiting for. We are going to try and get our sweep going. Try and set up. Goes into Hariyama. We can stay in, but we opt to just go Belly Bolt here as he clicks Bullet Punch, expecting that to break our Terra Shell. Yeah, now I'm remembering, because this match was a while ago. That's why I wasn't going to Terapagos earlier, because I was expecting the Bullet Punch. And even though I can kill him, I don't want to take the damage on my Terra Shell. So, trying to get it in, not on the Hariyama. We do manage to get this in on the Belly Bolt in on the Hariyama, though. Take the Bullet Punch, which is pretty good, because now we can get our HP back, or just Volt Switch out. Do get our HP back. He's going to be a bit greedy, I guess, and get Roost. Maybe not greedy, but this is good for us, because we would have just died to a Volt Switch, and now we can get our momentum back on this Hariyama. At this point, I don't really have an option, because Bullet Punch kills everything else, so I have to go into the Terapagos and unfortunately burn the Terra Shell. And we do get rid of the Hariyama finally. Okidogi comes in, which could have been dead earlier, unfortunately, to our Psychic if we didn't over-predict, which would have changed this whole game, but you know, that's Pokemon. And he gets the Drain Punch off. Unfortunately, we don't do enough damage to the Okidogi. We get a Para, so can try and hacks it out. But we're going to go for Psychic, kill the Okidogi. In comes Zapdos, which we do not kill, even with the Draco. Draco Meteor Mist ended up not mattering, I believe. Our only hope now is Healing Wish the Terapagos back up, because we can't win with Gardevoir with the HP that his Pokemon are at. So that Roost did end up mattering on the Zapdos. So we can't just spam Moonblast here. We're going to have to Healing Wish. Hope he doesn't read that, which he does. Great play. And at this point, nothing we can do, even with all of our HP back. We can't take this out. We need to get a speed boost and damage boost, and even Terra Starstorm doesn't kill. So yeah, that's going to be it for game 1. Unfortunate ending to this one. If I just clicked Psychic on the Okidogi, you know, hindsight, but that would have been a different game, because he can't come in on the Terapagos with it and click Drain Punch. And yeah, we would have been in a much better spot. Something like Gouging might have come in, and then we could have Healing Wished back up later after the Gouging was already dead. And at that point, we would have won the game. But good game to Q spots. That concludes the first match, and we will be getting into the second match. All right, in our second week of the AFG Pokemon Draft League, we are up against Central. Central's team consists of Megalodios, Quaquaval, Tinkaton, Quillfish, Crocodile, Terraswellow with Normal and Fire, Decidueye, Terragredient with Normal, Ghost, and Fairy, Typhlosion, and Zeraora. In the matchup, I am mostly worried about Quaquaval and Swellow. Quaquaval, very scary, can sweep my team pretty easily, especially if Weezing goes down. We don't have a lot of great answers to it. Swellow, also very scary with Terra. Iron Treads is kind of our only answer, but he can be Terra Fire. I think Terra Normal is better in this game, and he probably will be that. But yeah, Terra Fire exists, so Iron Treads maybe isn't the most reliable answer to it. We'll go over our team here. As you can see it on the screen, we have Iron Treads, which is the Assault Vest for that special Swellow. Rapid Spinner, Earthquake, Ice Spinner, Knockoff are all the coverage we need. Terapagos this week is a pretty standard Toxic Stealth Rock variant, with Flamethrower and Terra Starstorm as our two coverage options. Choice Scarf, Noivern is on the team this week. Terra Fairy with Terra Blast, Flamethrower, Draco Meteor, and U-Turn. This outspeeds his entire team, which is great for me, especially a +1 Quaquaval after an Aqua Step, which is very important because, like I said, we can get swept by that guy pretty easily. Next up is Zarude, also Choice Scarf for the exact reason. Petal Blizzard, Knockoff, U-Turn, Close Combat are the coverage moves this week. Knockoff, I mean, great move in general, hits a lot of things on his team. And we have Petal Blizzard, which is enough to kill Quaquaval, so we're not going to risk missing Rith Power Whip. Next we have Rosalina, which is our switch into Latias, is especially defensive this week. It has Moonblast, Psyshock, Healing Wish, and Thunder Wave. We can come in, take very minimal damage. We are Boots, just in case he sets up hazards, and we're going to be coming in a lot on the Latias. We could have been Leftovers or Assault Vest this week too, but Boots is what I went with. And finally, we have Weezing, which is just max defense. Strange Steam, Pain Split, Will-O-Wisp, Toxic Spikes. T-Spikes are pretty decent against his team. He doesn't have good rate removal besides Quaquaval, which I don't think is going to be a spinner in this match. I did bring Decidueye, as you can see, so maybe that isn't the best. But yeah, Strange Steam, Pain Split, and Will-O-Wisp are all we're going to need. And hopefully we can come in on that Quaquaval and try and deal with it that way. And if not, we have two Scarfers to try and revenge it. And that is the team for the week. Let's get into the match here. So leading off is our Terapagos, as I talked about, our Stealth Rock and Toxic lead. This is a pretty free Stealth Rocks for me. Pretty obvious U-turn, I'd say. We do find out he's Life Orb, which is good information. Good information to know that he's not Scarf. At this point, this is just our lead, so I'm okay getting damage off. Nice Flamethrower chip on the Decidueye. Quaquaval comes in. Now this is something that we don't want to stay in on because he can just close combat on us. We got Weezing that can come in on the Quack. Luckily he clicks SD and then switches out. Doesn't opt to get his chip. If he did get some chip there with something like Aqua Step, would have been a bit annoying. But he's going to go into Tinkaton, which is a fine switch in to my Weezing. Does get confused. Doubles into Latias. I was just going back on my Terapagos. We can try and get a Toxic on this thing, but instead we're going to go into Gardevoir, which is our dedicated switch in. He is going to go for Mystical Fire, which does reduce our special attack, a bit annoying, but like I said, we're very Spadef. We're not taking much damage here. I go for a T-Wave, pretty good on everything on his team. He's not going to go into Zeraora on a Moonblast here. So getting a Para on the Tinkaton is relevant. You know, we can hack that thing out. Terapagos comes in. He might think we're Spin. He does get paralyzed here, but unfortunate because we get back to full HP on that. And we get a bunch of chip. And we go for the Terra Starstorm here, which is really good for us because it kills Tinkaton, and if he tries to switch out on our Flamethrower, we get a bunch of damage, which is what ended up happening. He's going to Baton Pass out as I just stay in and click Starstorm again because we have the Terra Shell back up, so I'm not really scared of the Latias, and we have ways to deal with that if it starts boosting like our Scarf Zarude. Does go into Tinkaton and just sack it off, which is fine by me. Back into the Latias. At this point, I'm going to go to Gardevoir, expecting him not to, you know, switch out this turn. Mystical Fire. Once again, I believe we just Moonblast this turn and try and deal with this. No point in Thunder Waving at this point in the game. In comes Zeraora, which we are okay losing our Gardevoir, but we do see that it's Bulk Up, which is a bit scary. So we're going to have to get out of there and try and deal with this accordingly, because this thing is pretty fast. We do have Scarfers. Noivern can do some good damage to this, because obviously it hits on the special side. We do see the Iron Tail come out, so good thing we are max, because that did a lot of damage. We do know he's leftovers, so we can get a nice Wisp off here. No, he's not Lum. Missing would be a disaster, but luckily we did not miss. And Weezing has done his job here. Unfortunately, didn't do his job for the Quaquaval, but has done enough on the Zeraora that we can come in and try and revenge that with something else, like our Noivern. Doesn't see Boots, so probably can assume that we're going to be Scarf. We can just Draco, kill off the Zeraora, which is great. So I guess in the end, the Will-O-Wisp didn't really end up mattering if we hit that or not, because we had Draco to try and kill that. It's going to go into Swellow. I'm just going to go into my Gardevoir and sack it off because we don't need it to switch into the Latias anymore. We do actually live, which is nice because he gets extra Life Orb chip. In comes Zarude, which is going to kill this thing. We could just Petal Blizzard. He knows we're Scarf now, so he can freely go Decidueye. I can get out on this thing. I saw that it was a 2-hit KO, so I was like, I might as well just stay in, get my damage. But you're going to see here, he does click Roost, so we're going to have to get out. This Petal Blizzard is not going to be doing enough. He gets back to full HP, which is not the biggest deal. He does show that he is Colbur Berry, and he is set up. But, I mean, there's no risk here in this game anymore. We just got to deal with this thing. And then we have 2 Scarfers to clean up Quaquaval, as long as we don't let it get 2 Aqua Step boosts. Do get a crit there, can just keep attacking. We have more Ice Spinners than he has Roosts. We can just go for it again with a knockoff in case he tried to double. In comes Quaquaval. I didn't want to let him get the free Aqua Step here. Even if he close combats there, it's fine. We kill with our Noivern, and he kind of is forced to go for the Aqua Step, and especially if he goes for Sword Stance that turn, might get a little hairy, so might as well just go into Zarude. Aqua Step seems pretty likely, which is what we see here. And luckily we are Scarf, so we can just Petal Blizzard and clean this thing up. We see that it's not Rindo Berry or anything like that. And that does it for week 2. So a little bit of a bounce back after our loss in week 1. Pick up a 4-0 win here and gain some ground back into the standings, which is great. So I will see you guys for game 3. Here we are with the 3rd match of the season. This time we are against Danka's dad. who has an electric terrain team. His team is Tapu Koko, Iron Boulder, Hawlucha, Iron Crown, Sinistcha, Iron Jugulus, Regice, Sandaconda, Alolan Raichu, Type Null, and Dugong. And Alolan Raichu and Regice are his Terra captains. As you can see here, he has brought Tapu Koko, Hawlucha, Sinistcha, Iron Boulder, Iron Crown, Iron Jugulus. Definitely a pretty scary team to go up against, but I think we have the tools here that are able to do it. We'll go over my team here quickly, as you can see the paste on screen. And this is the first week, I believe, that I made team changes. I dropped Frostless and Passimian and picked up Tauros and Weirdeer. So, and that's Tauros Paldea Aqua, by the way. So here is our paste. We have Iron Treads, which is Choice Scarf with Rapid Spin, Earthquake, Ice Spinner, and Volt Switch. This is able to outspeed Iron Boulder because of our terrain boost plus our Choice Scarf. Of course, we're going to be outspeeding Tapu Koko as well, so definitely really good in the matchup here. Earthquake is fairly spammable, except the Hawlucha and the Jugulus, but otherwise very good. We also have Terapagos, which is a setup variant this week, with Terra Starstorm and Dark Pulse as our coverage moves. It's really all we need into this team. Noivern is Flamethrower, Terra Blast Fairy, U-Turn, and Draco Meteor. And we have a Eject Pack this week to try and get some momentum, because we have good pivots into things like Belly Bolt, which is Discharge, Slack Off, Eerie Impulse, and Thunder Wave with Terra Fairy. This is so we don't lose to Iron Crown. We can Eerie Impulse, lower its special attack by 2, and then it's not as much of a threat. We can also paralyze it with Thunder Wave. Eerie Impulse is good on Tapu Koko on the Switch as well. And yeah, it's max Spadef, so it's our Spadef switch in. We don't have a direct switch in to the Iron Boulder this week, but we do have Focus Sash on Ceruledge. I don't think he's going to be hazards in this matchup because his hazard setters are not very good. So I brought Focus Sash with Swords Dance, Bitter Blade, Shadow Sneak, and Shadow Claw. Shadow Claw is in case he's Booster Energy or a Berry on that Iron Boulder. We can still hit it super effectively and don't need to worry about Poltergeist not being able to work because he doesn't have an item. And then last but not least, we have Choice Specs, Weezing Galar with Strange Steam, Flamethrower, Shadow Ball, and Clear Smog. This is pretty good into his team. I thought Specs looked alright. I didn't like it defensively. It didn't switch in that well into things, but we can switch in and surprisingly get a huge chunk of damage off because we are Modest Choice Specs. So that is the game plan this week. Let's get right into the game here. First up, we have Iron Treads in on Jugulus. We can just Volt Switch out here, no problem. Into Belly Bolt, which is our Spadef answer. That does a ton of damage, but we are able to recover a bit of that off. Gonna go for a Thunder Wave, hoping to catch that thing, but he does switch into Tapu Koko, which is a bit annoying. We do double into the Treads on that. We see that he's booster speed on Crown, but we are faster. He actually stays in, which is crazy. We could have just clicked EQ and killed that, but it is what it is on that. Stays in and gets the Volt Switch off. This was a crazy play. I literally could have just Earthquaked, but, you know. Gets a crit, not the biggest deal. Back into Jugulus. We are fine to this, especially with Terra. Don't need to worry about things like Earth Power. Dark Pulse doing absolutely nothing now, which is awesome. And we are back to full HP. We can go for a Terra Blast here. We opt to double, which is alright. We get our terrain up on the Tapu Koko. Expecting him to go into Koko because that's what he did last time. And yeah, we can get rid of the terrain. Gonna Strange Steam, brings in the Iron Crown. We actually take quite a bit from Tachyon here, but could freely go for Earthquake if we see fit. He does double this time, gets into Sinistcha, which, I mean, good enough, or good play, and gets this read as well on my Weezing coming in, so he gets his terrain back up, but we can pretty happily go into Iron Treads again. Gonna see Sinistcha, so we can Volt Switch here, and we should be okay. Go into Weezing and get our terrain back up on the Strength Sap, which we do. And we can just go for an attack here because we are Choice Specs, which he does not know. Choice Specs Shadow Ball does more than half here. Unreal. Gonna Strength Sap. That's not gonna do much. We've already lowered our attack. Big Shadow Ball coming in. And he's gonna double. So we can go Shadow Ball again. No worries. Now we want to get out and go into our Terra Fairy Belly Bolt. Hurricane does do over half, but we do have leftovers, so we are okay there. He goes for it again. Could just Terra Blast here, but I believe I go for Slack Off. Luckily, I break through the confusion, because Slack Off, we're healing more than he's doing, but I could have risked the confusion, which you can see there I got hit by the confusion, but he missed his Hurricane, so it kind of evens out. Go for a Discharge, get the Para on Sinistcha, which is pretty big here, so we can just finish this thing off with another Discharge, and he can't heal up. So we're in a pretty good position. Still have our Sash intact on the Ceruledge as well. Tachyon is not going to be able to kill us, and we can get a Thunder Wave off on the Iron Crown, and that is what we opt to do. Now this thing is crippled. Not a big deal, even with terrain up. Tachyon is not going to be able to finish us off. Go for Earthquake or Ice Spinner here. We do go for Earthquake. I think it was a bit safer. Could have gone for Ice Spinner, predicting that, but he also could have sacked off the Paralyzed Iron Crown. Now we can sack off our Belly Bolt, pretty weakened, and come back in and revenge that thing with Ice Spinner. And in comes Tapu Koko. We can go into our Weezing, get our terrain up, say goodbye to his. You can go into Iron Crown and just click Tachyon once again, which he does. We're just going to let our Weezing go down. Don't really need any more. We're kind of entering the end game here. Terapagos is in, and we can start setting up in front of this Iron Crown pretty easily. He does get paralyzed, which is awesome. Click Dark Pulse, can either flinch or para, get another para. He's going to go Tapu Koko. I considered Terra Starstorming there, but, you know, I don't think it killed because he was AV. So I think it was okay. Gets the Nature's Madness off, so that's a bit of an issue. In comes Iron Boulder. We do see its Balloon, so good thing here that I am Shadow Claw and not Poltergeist on my Ceruledge. We'll see if that comes into play. Close Combat is going to finish off my Terapagos. Luckily, we don't let him sub up there. Just stay in. Ceruledge, we are Focus Sash, so no need to worry. We do SD on the Hawlucha, and he has a great bring here, Encore. So this was game over if he didn't have Encore easily, but he does. Now he goes for Swords Dance. Goes for Sword Dance again, knowing I cannot kill this with an Ice Spinner. And I'm thinking it might be game over here. Go into Noivern, sack this off because it's not relevant in the matchup anymore. And we need to get Ceruledge in with the Sash and hope for the best. He does go for Iron Head here, proccing our Weak Armor. He is still going to be faster, and that's where things took a turn. I did not think I was going to be faster because he has an Unburden boost, but he was pretty greedy on the EVs, I believe. So I did manage to outspeed and go for a Bitter Blade and heal up. The flinch was unfortunate, but we got the heal up. I thought we were going to get Acrobatics and we were just going to die, but he had Iron Head instead. I can't remember what the other move was. Probably a fighting move, so he didn't have Acro. Gonna Iron Head again, proc Weak Armor, and at this point, gonna sack the Iron Crown. Makes sense. Shadow Sneak was gonna kill that off anyways. And we do have the Shadow Claw, so we were able to take out the Iron Boulder. Shadow Sneak would not have killed that, so that worked out for us. Pretty crazy game. End game, I really thought I was gonna lose because of the Acrobatics, but he ended up not having that. So Ceruledge coming in clutch here and winning this game for us. I think Dankus Dad played very well. We could have played maybe a little bit better in some of those turns. I think that one turn where he stayed in on the Volt Switch was a bit crazy and clicked Volt Switch of himself on the treads, but it worked out, so can't knock it. And that does it for the first 3 weeks of AFG. We are 2-1 at this point, not looking too bad, and I am going to get on those next 3 replays here pretty soon, so enjoy these 3, and we will continue the story of AFG Season 6 a little bit later. Thanks for watching, guys.